What's up, everybody? It's me, Chris, here to talk about this weekend's boxing matchups. Great weekend of fights, including Friday night fights. A lot of knockouts on that show. But anyways, first fight I'm going to talk about is Cory Spinks winning the vacant IBF 154-pound title against Deandre Latimore on Friday night on ShoBox. Only problem I have with this fight, not really a problem, I just don't understand how the number 7 and 8th ranked guys in that division in the IBF are fighting for a vacant title. You would think it'd be number 1 and number 2 would be fighting for the title. But the number 1 slot's vacant. Number 2 is Cornelius Bundridge. I don't really know how he's up to number 2 slot, no disrespect, but it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I don't know. Maybe I'll ask Don King or something. But anyways, I thought I picked Spinks to win this fight by decision. I was worried it might be a boring fight just based on Spinks' style and, both being southpaws. But I was hoping the fact that both are from St. Louis and it's being held in St. Louis, the atmosphere and whatnot might make for a better fight, and it did. Plus, the guys put on a really great fight, to be honest. Early on, Latimore dropped Spinks with a nice, I believe it was a right hand in the first round. I thought it might be over, but Spinks, credit to him, he got up, survived the round. Latimore's throwing a lot of big punches early on in this fight. Definitely had a lot of power. It doesn't look like he has a lot of power, but he does. He's throwing a lot of big punches, in the early rounds, was definitely winning the rounds, I believe. Cory Spinks was fighting not his usual fight, which made for a good fight. Was kind of hanging in there, fighting more on the inside, whatnot, trading, willing to trade more often and whatnot than he usually does. Like I said, made for a really good, exciting fight. Lattimore was winning the few early rounds, but, somewhat midway through the fight, maybe a little bit earlier than Spinks started taking over. Lattimore started tiring out a little bit. Just was throwing less and wasn't landing as many, didn't have as much steam on his punches. Spinks landed a lot of clean shots as well, but he doesn't really have the power to hurt Latimore. But he was definitely winning the rounds, in my opinion. Latimore, he was getting tired. I was talking to 97 Rough Dave on the phone in between rounds. I was telling him I thought Spinks should go to Latimore's body, try to take a little bit more out of him, but he never did that, but it didn't really make a difference in the end. Fight went the distance. I thought Spinks controlled the fight more rounds than, Latimore. Thought he, just landed more, didn't get hit as much later half of the fight. And thought he won a decision. It ended up being a split decision. Was a little bit worried. You never know how these judges are going to, see things or, what's going to take place. But Spinks got a split decision, deservedly so. What's next for him? I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch if that happens, as this was a really good, exciting fight. Definitely the most exciting fights I've ever seen of Spinks's. Like I said, Cornelius Bundridge is the highest rate contender in the IBF, but I don't really see that fight being made. Maybe he could fight Paul Williams. We know Williams hovers around 154, 160, and he likes collecting belts, I think, so maybe we'll see that fight happen. Who knows? Next up on Saturday on HBO, we had Gerry Penalosa against Juan Manuel Lopez. This fight also went the way I thought it would for the most part. Lopez wins by TKO. Penalosa, first off, credit to the guy, brave effort in there, showed a lot of heart. Guy had never been stopped before, and you could see why in this fight. Lopez, though, looked awesome. Didn't dominate. It wasn't a one-sided fight, but he definitely controlled every round, in my opinion. Just threw a lot of punches, landed, mixed it up nice to the head and the body. He got hit a few times clean during exchanges with right hands, counter rights, but nothing ever really hurt him or deterred him from, continuing his assault. Penalosa hung in there tough, took a real beating, never been knocked out before, and you can tell why in this fight. Guy has a lot of heart and definitely a solid chin. Lopez, I believe he broke records in back-to-back rounds for most punches thrown and landed by a bantamweight. Just was unstoppable in there, looked great. In between the 8th and 9th rounds, Freddie Roach told Penalosa he'd give him one more chance to go out there, try to get the knockout as he was taking a lot of punches. Penalosa went out there, gave what he had left, but just couldn't pull it out. Roach stopped the fight after the 9th round, rightfully so, Penalosa wasn't going to win the fight. No point in taking any more punches, no unnecessary punishment. He doesn't have to, be ashamed or hang his head on this fight. He gave a great effort, just, ran into a bigger, younger, stronger fighter. What's next for Juan Manuel Lopez? He'd like to fight Vasquez or Marquez. I don't see those fights happening only because, those guys are a little bit further on in their career, kind of at the end. I don't think they want to risk going in against Lopez, to be honest. Plus, we don't know what they have left after their trilogy. Wouldn't mind seeing the Caballero match. Celestino Caballero. See unify the title. See who the better is. Lopez mentioned moving up to 126 either late this year or next year. Mentioned it previously. I'd like to see him fight Yuriorkis Gamboa sometime. Hopefully next year. Hopefully they'll still be undefeated. Be a good matchup. Lopez looks a little bit more technically sound, but Gamboa has a speed advantage in my opinion. So hopefully we'll get to see that fight made sometime next year. Last up, Carl Froch on Showtime successfully defending his title, 168-pound title against Jermain Taylor. Was wrong on my prediction. I picked Taylor to win this fight by decision. Hadn't really seen much of Froch, just a little bit on the internet. First time seeing him fight live, must say I was impressed. Early on, Taylor looked good, landing his jab, landing a lot of clean shots. Froch has a different kind of style in there. Don't really know who to compare it to too much, but not your typical European style. Doesn't have the best defense, which is why Taylor was able to land early. Jermain knocked him down in the third with a big right hand. First time Froch had been down in his career, amateur or pro, but he responded well. He got up, survived the round, came out in the fourth round, didn't fight tentatively, just kept continuing doing what he was trying to do. Taylor won, probably the first half of the fight in my opinion, but come sixth round, things took a change. Froch seemed to take over. Taylor seemed to be tiring out, less output, didn't look as sharp. I mentioned in my pre-fight, I didn't think Taylor would have stamina problems even though he has in the past, just because I thought it was only because he had trouble making middleweight. But that's not the case. For whatever reason, Jermain Taylor just continues to have stamina problems late in fights. Granted, some of that can be credited to Froch in this fight as he kept applying pressure, so that definitely played a factor into it as well. Anyways, late in the fight, Froch seemed to be controlling the latter half of the fight, but his corner told him he needed a big 12th round, to pull out a win, which, I thought if he would have won the 12th, he could have got a draw or whatever, but came out, landed a big right on Jermain Taylor, had Jermain, backpedaling, was able to corner him and drop him with another big right hand. I thought the fight was over, to be honest. Taylor looked like he was done, didn't look like he had anything left. Credit to him, showed a lot of heart in getting up. But, the ref let it continue. Froch ran him down, got him cornered again, and just finished him off with a bunch of unanswered shots, and the referee had no choice but to stop the fight. Great performance by both fighters. Great come from behind by Froch, and, I was really impressed with, his composure and the way he was able to end the fight. What's next for Carl Froch? Called out Joe Calzaghe. He's been calling him out for a while. We all know Calzaghe's retired. I don't see him coming out of retirement to see that fight, although I wouldn't mind seeing it happen. I know a lot of the English and British fans would as well. Jermain Taylor said he'd like a rematch. Wouldn't mind seeing that, as this was a really good fight with a great ending. Mikkel Kessler's out there. That'd probably make for a good fight, although Kessler really hasn't wanted to face any of the top names since losing to Calzaghe. He could fight the winner of Lucian Bute, Librado Andrade, probably make for a good fight, and also Alan Green, who was looked really impressive on the undercard, knocking out De Leon Jr. Said he'd like the winner. Wouldn't mind seeing that fight based off of these performances. Either way, I'm looking forward to seeing more of Froch. He wasn't afraid to come to the United States to defend his title against a tough contender, and pulled out a very impressive win. So I'm looking forward to seeing more in him. That's pretty much it for now. I'll probably be back tomorrow with my Pacquiao Hatton prediction, but until then, I'm out of here. Bye.